just did a video with an update for one of my platforms that I'm on, Go Kid, and just like kind of what's been going on in my life lately, what's been going on. So I kind of want to give, people have asked me, what advice do I have for new teachers? Now, this advice that I'm giving you is general advice for any platform that you're on. Then I'm going to do one specifically for each platform that I am on. So this is the general new teacher advice, okay? But the blanket advice, like the, just cover it up. This is for you, for all of you beautiful people. Heed this advice. Okay. All right, so first off, I would tell you, whether you are with one platform or multiple platforms, whatever schedule you set, remember your schedule. Review whether or not you need to be on standby, whether you have a class or not, or if your class isn't booked within a period of time, you don't need to report at all. So be careful of your schedule. If you're on more than one platform and you are doing like this, okay, maybe 5 minutes in between jumping onto another platform, be careful of that. If you are on certain platforms where you are able to overlap and you can cancel some and this and that, be careful of that, because some platforms have cancellation policies attached to them. Some you could just click and cancel. Some, for you to cancel, even if there's nothing booked, it's going to take an act of Congress. Okay. So be careful. Whatever, there are so many platforms I've never even heard of. So whatever platform you are on, especially when you are stacking platforms, you're just stacking them up so that you can fully maximize your schedule. Be careful of your time allotment. Make sure you have enough time to use the bathroom within a certain period of hours, at least. Use the bathroom, drink some water, and you have enough time to jump from one platform to another. Don't overwhelm yourself. I've seen people get upset because of fines or whatnot. Read your contract before you sign it. I always look online, and you know how they tell you about this job, and they give you all the highlights about what's expected, teaching requirements, and then you go through orientation and training. Yeah, you're not going to remember every single word that they said. But when you get that contract, boy, oh boy, read that long, boring contract. Read it. Read it. Some of them have downloadable contracts. Download it. So download it to your computer so you have that exact version that you're signing. Download it and or screenshot it if you need to. Always screenshot contracts. Every contract I have screenshot it or downloaded it. I have a copy of what I have signed. Every page, up another page, every page, screenshot, download. So you always are in the know to what your part is expected and what the company's part is to be expected. Always, always, always. Now, since we're in the vein of screenshotting, any conversations you have, any platform, any conversations you have with staff, screenshot it. Trust me, it's to your benefit, because maybe if somebody makes a mistake and tells you wrong, you want to be able to screenshot, hey, this was told to me on this date. Now, when you screenshot it, make sure, when you screenshot, you should have the date and time stamp, that's on your computer. Don't crop that out. Keep that date and time stamp in there, and get a record, like a folder on your computer, and put all those things in a folder. Put them in a folder. If you don't really want to use up computer space, some of us have just very limited space as is, because we have old computers or like notebooks. Some of us teach on those notebooks, and they just don't have a lot of memory. Email it to yourself. Screenshot it, email it to yourself so you have a copy of it in your email. Okay, keep a record, stick it in a folder so you can always recall it. And then when it's like super old, like maybe, like maybe at the end of the year, that's what I do. At the end of the year, I go through and dump. So I might label a folder 2019. Everything is for that year. All conversations for 2019 for this platform is going in that folder. And then at the end of the year, I'm like, wow, I was told this back in January. And so I don't need this anymore. When it's old and it's evident you don't need it anymore, maybe they said something about pay. You've gotten the pay. It was resolved and you've gotten it. You don't need the proof anymore. Then you can dump it. I'm not saying keep it forever and be a digital pack rat, but keep records of things until you're absolutely sure you don't need it anymore. Screenshot. Another piece of advice. Like, this might sound negative, but I want people to know, like, it's real. Like, just like a regular job, when you want to have proof of stuff, you like, I don't know. I just wish I had proof of this conversation because I was told. That's one thing about teaching online. If you're told something, normally it's through an email or some type of messaging conversation, and it's easy for you to save. So you could say, I was told this. This is what I was told. And you have your proof. Now, another thing with this, always, 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 people tell me, well, they ask me, how do you keep up with your pay? I don't keep like spreadsheets like some people do. I'm just not a good bookkeeper in that manner, but I'm good at moving things and shifting things around and organizing that way. So, some of these platforms keep a daily tab that you can look at daily and it changes daily. And so I always do a screenshot of that and put it up in my digital folder. Some companies don't, and you just don't know until payday. You just have to really keep track yourself. So then in those cases, I actually look at how many classes I taught. Okay? If you're a digital person, screenshot your schedule for the week. And if you taught that class, mark on there that you taught it. An X or a check mark for I taught it, an X for you didn't teach it. So if you know how to go in, screenshot, and then put marks and tallies or whatever you want, then you can keep track of it that way weekly. Doing it weekly, you would have what? No more than 52 screenshots per platform. Or, once you get paid, you don't need that anymore. So, okay, I got my pay. You double check it with what classes you taught or what was a no-show or blah, 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 blah. So if you are really one of those people that you want like the daily breakdown of each class, that's something you're going to have to do. So whatever platform you are on, look into how they keep track of salary. And if you're one of those people that you're like, nope, it's 5 cents off, I need this, then you are going to want to keep track of what you teach, what days, was it a full class, blah, 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 if there were tech issues, whose side tech issues were it on, was the problem on. And with tech issues, always screenshot. If you have screen recordings, if you are sly like I could be, and you have your cell phone off camera, don't let them see like, what's going on, like off camera, and you're able to record these problems, and you're like, and you can, that's proof too, because sometimes it's not on your end, it's on their end. But on, I guess on IT's end, this is any platform. Sometimes on the IT end, it look fine on their end, but they think that is your end. They're like, no, I think it's the teacher. You're like, no, let me show you. I have video proof. I have screenshot proof. I was in the classroom sitting there looking like this. The student was not. So take screenshots, you guys. This is some helpful information. This is not to scare you guys off. So for you to be successful, these are helpful tips for you. Not to tell you you can't trust anyone, because honestly, I don't do all that bookkeeping stuff. I just kind of roundabout tally in my head. I round everything off, and then I round it low. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to round, and I round down. So I'm like, okay, I taught this many classes, blah, 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 and I round down. And every time I get paid, 92% of the time, I'm pleasantly surprised. And if I do have any issues, I'm just like, let me go back and look. Hold up. And then most of the time, it was like, oh, okay, I remember what happened. Maybe there was just one time where I was like, I have to send an email. There was a mistake. One time in my, 2.5 years of doing this solely online. So these are tips from my experience for you. Not trying to scare you to say don't trust anything, do everything on your own. But in real life, they're a business and you want to get paid. So it's all about business. You want to, this is some getting paid type of tips. Okay. So now let's get to the fun stuff. Fun tips. Now we got the bookkeeping and, take care of your business type stuff out of the way. So now I want to kind of give you some tips on just being the best teacher that you can be. Step number 1, don't compare yourself with these other teachers out there. Everybody does not have the same personality or teaching style. I say that because I am a planner, but it's like, I don't know. When I say I'm a planner, compared to some of these teachers, it's an understatement. When I plan, I'm one of those people, I like to plan my time. I plan my time almost to a T. And I'm like, this is what I'm going to do at this time and this time and that. I crunch the numbers of time, okay? Because I want to maximize my day. And that's why a lot of you ask me, how do you get all that done in a day? When do you sleep? I sleep and I do get a lot done. And I'm running 3 businesses. And one of those include my book writing, yes. And then I have 3 young children. One child is in college. Yet she still calls me almost every day for something. She needed me this morning, as a matter of fact, because her car broke down and she needed a ride. So I have 4 young children and a teenager, and you know how that goes. She's going to need me until the end of time. I know I still need my parents too, so hey. And yeah, and I do all this running of the house on one income, mine. So I really crunch my time. I do. I maximize my time to the fullest. But I'm going to tell you to take your time into consideration and don't worry so much about having every single thing that is mentioned in a lesson. So if they're talking about the deep blue sea, you do not, I repeat, you do not have to go out and buy like underwater puppets and go buy stuffed animals and go get a water bowl and buy a pet fish just so you can be the best teacher and show them water life. You really don't need to do that, because these students will be so enamored by your personality and just you being lively and investing in them. You really would. Now, some people really rely on ManyCam. I've tried it way back in the day, and it was fun for what it was fun for, but when it didn't work, I wanted to throw my laptop, and I got to a point where I was relying on it too much, and I was just like, it's not working. So then I just dumped it. I completely uninstalled it. Luckily, it was a free version, not the one I paid for. Now, if you are a computer whiz and your computer is like top speed and you're just like, I got this, then you got this. ManyCam is probably all you need. You probably don't even need any like material props, really, other than I do suggest some type of stuffed animal friend. Other than a stuffed animal friend and maybe something that you create to brand yourself. I'll talk about that in a moment. So if you have ManyCam, that's probably all you need. I am not savvy, and I refuse to spend hours trying to study how to effectively use ManyCam, and I don't want to spend the money for it. That's me. Now, if you're all for it, I know they have ManyCam, they have I don't know what else is out there, but they have other ones like Manicam that you guys might be like, yeah, bring it on. That's what I'm doing. Hey, that is wonderful. And that's probably all you need. Just add on a stuffed animal friend or a puppet. That's my suggestion, personally, because they will ask for it by name. And it's nothing like seeing something in real life that you can touch and the students can see you touch it rather than them seeing something animated bouncing across the screen. Maybe I'm so like Manny Cam because I'm not a big TV person. I don't watch TV. I watch movies. Don't even ask me what shows are on air right now these days because I don't know. I don't watch TV. And Manny Cam is too much like encouraging them to watch cartoons. That's my opinion, okay? Don't come for me. Please. Okay, so don't stress. You don't have to have a pitcher and a water bottle because we're talking about liquids or things that we want to drink. If you are just using some old fashioned TPR, that's good enough. Just and get them to do it too. There's nothing like using, like I like to pretend I'm a mime and I'm like, oh, mm, what is it? Would you like some? And then they do it too because it's just like, okay, we're using our imagination. That's just my teaching style. So I'm just letting you know that there are teachers that are like, they have cases and cases of props. Yes, I have like bins of toys. That's because I like to play with toys. Okay. And I really didn't go out and I would say 82% of what I have, I didn't buy it for class. They were my children's. And then it was in there and I was just like, I'm not throwing this away. I could use it. So I put it in there. And my son, my little Jude, he actually still plays with them. So they're technically his toys that I use. And then when I feel like it's just old and it's lost its flavor, then I donate it or, he breaks toys sometimes. I toss it. I just toss it. I recycle stuff. So don't stress going and spending like your first whole check on props and reward systems. You don't have to do that. You can do simple reward systems. I'm coming out with an ebook on different reward systems that I use that are universal and that are fun and that last a long time and that are cheap. And don't take like hours trying to put together. Okay? You don't have to go and buy all these extra supplies, and it's the fun that keeps on giving. And you can even change them out seasonally. Like what, 4 seasons in a year? That's like 4 rewards. You can have, I would say, if you're going to do it that way, 12. High, middle, and low. The little itty bitty ones, the ones that are like 7 to 9, and the ones that are like 7 to 10 maybe, and the ones that are like preteen, teenager, they really don't, my reward system for them is a game or conversation, or we talk about movies, or I show little clips on my phone, stuff like that. Keep it simple. Don't overthink it. All right. Next, anytime you do a trial, this is for, I'm going to say, any company that I know of. Unless if you know of a company that is not okay. When you do a trial, people ask, how do you do so many trial conversions? I know people that do way higher than I do. But when I do a trial, I get a decent amount of trial conversions. I don't have a lot of trial classes that I do, but when I do, I get a decent amount of conversions. Don't be afraid to really brand yourself, okay? And ask them, be like, I would love for you to come back. You can come back and see me. Would you like to come back and read? Ask them. And most of the time they'll say, yes. And then, they might bug their parents to death on how much they love that teacher and they want to come back and read. And there you go. Even if they're not your student because they couldn't fit them in your schedule, they just couldn't live without being on the platform. Now you have a conversion. Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to, put your own little flavor on it. Even though some companies, I'm not going to name any names, but some companies kind of want you to do things a little scripted, kind of. some companies, I'm not really part of those companies that really like the script type thing, but some companies really like read this. Now, even with those companies, you can still put your own flavor on it. You can talk with high, low, and medium and high pitched voices and different voices you can do and make yourself stand out. Especially when you get like a smile or a giggle, or you see that maybe that once rigid student is now, they just want to give you input and add a little extra to it. You got them. You got them. Okay? So don't be afraid to put you in there. Just slide you on in there. And let's go to the branding. When I say branding, wear or bring or do or something that is special between you and your students in particular. For me, I have my little puppet Arnold. And so even in my videos that I have for my students, I have Arnold. So they know some point in time they're going to meet Arnold, even if he's like, hello. I don't have Arnold with me right now because I did this movie at the drop of a hat. But Arnold pops up even just to say hi, or he's going across the screen. I'm like, move, Arnold. They know they're going to see Arnold. And some of them, hey, where's Arnold? They ask for him by name. So they know that I'm associated with Arnold. I used to wear like these little ears. I always had some type of ears of some type. And so they knew that I was going to have some type of ears. So they would comment on what animal I was for that day. So it could be that. Maybe it's wigs. It could be maybe you draw freckles, like big circle freckles. And maybe some days you have one or two and then you have a lot of them. And they're like, oh, teacher, you have a lot of freckles today. Something that really makes you stand out is branding yourself. Maybe you have a pin that you wear. I know some guys, if the company allows it, wear a special hat, and they might do a reward system on their hat, which I do have a reward system where I add to my hat. And they might have a special hat that they wear, and they know that's their brand. They're like, all right, I'm putting on the magic hat. That could be what you do. It could be, like I said, a stuffed animal friend, a puppet, something that's special. I do the we do the double high five and we bring it back as something that we do. Okay, so do something that makes you memorable. So even if you met a student for one day and they couldn't remember your name, they're like, that one teacher that does, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Maybe they're talking to another student. Yeah, I've had that teacher. She does, and she says, you just left an impression, even though they didn't even remember your name, probably didn't even remember what you were talking about, but you have branded yourself, like Nike, like Adidas. You have your own little trademark, your little brand going. So don't be afraid to just, be yourself. Another tip. Now, this is a biggie. Every platform has their own curriculum, okay? There might be some that I don't teach for, that you have to bring your own curriculum. I don't know. That's too much work for me. Unless if I'm tutoring on my own, doing my own thing, okay. But if I'm working on a platform, I don't want to bring my own curriculum. But these platforms offer the curriculum and you teach it, right? Don't stress yourself out and going over like the night before, spending 2-3 hours planning, and then you have to teach it and you feel like your whole life just revolves around teaching online. You will get the quickest burnout because you're going to start thinking about all the time you invest versus how much you get paid. Say you work 3 hours. Technically, you're getting paid for 3 hours, but you're doing like 8 to 9 hours of work every day. You're going to start to get burnt out. You're going to end up quitting. You're going to feel underappreciated because you're putting so much into it. Stop. Don't do that. Don't do that. In the beginning, I say the first 2 weeks is natural because you're nervous. You want to do good. You want to get good reviews. After that, then kind of just, I'm not saying be like me, but I'm going to tell you what I do. Like maybe 5 minutes before I go through and I kind of just do a click, 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 click. Yep, we're gonna do letters. So yep, I have letter flashcards. That's fine. I'm wonderful. So I start thinking, yeah, I'm gonna give them extra words. So I have an idea of some extra words I'm gonna throw in there just to, give them some variety. And then next, click, 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 click. Oh, family members. Yeah, I have some family puppets. That'll be cool. Or if you have a dry erase board, get a dry erase board and a marker. Okay, that would be like the ultimate prop. If you're gonna do anything, if that's all you have, is a dry erase board and a marker, you're set. Okay, that'll do so much. A dry erase board, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna stick with the puppet friend or a stuffed animal. If those are the two things you only have, you are set. Okay, those are the two things that I say you need. Okay, you can use that dry erase board for rewards, for lesson teaching, and for helping. That's a multi-purpose, all-purpose dry erase board. Okay, and your stuffed animal, stuffed friend is the same. It can help with pronunciation. It can help break the ice. It can help with just livening things up a little bit in the classroom. It can help as a reward. Those two things, and you're set. I would say those are the only two investments you really need. But for some of you, I'm sure you're like, I just want to have just a little bit more fun in the classroom, and that's fine. But don't stress on it. Whatever you do, accumulate over time. Okay? Accumulate over time. So I go click, 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 and then some of these courses tell you what the objectives are right up front. You already know. Click, 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 click. Kind of get a feel. Are there any slides that are chunkier than others? All right, done. Click, 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 done. Out of a 3-hour teaching session, I probably spend no more than 5 to 10 minutes planning. Yes, I've been doing it for a long time, but I've learned this after like 2 months of stressing and feeling like all I did all day was prepare, and I'm trying to save you from that. I did that for 2 months, and I was just like, oh my gosh. Before I went to bed, I was like, okay, I got to do this. Oh, I think I forgot. I forgot what the lesson was about. And I went over each slide again, and I would practice. This was like in the very beginning, back in 2017 when I first started teaching online. So I'm trying to save you the trouble. Don't try to memorize everything. Just click, 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 click. Go through. Do a run through. Yes. But you don't have to memorize everything. Just get an eyeball snapshot of those slides and do the best you can in the natural. When it's natural, because you're just like, yes, and then okay, then it's going to flow so much better. It's going to feel like conversation. And if you don't have any teaching experience whatsoever, it's really going to comfort you. It's going to make you feel a little more comfortable because it's naturally like, oh, wow, look at this. Yes. It won't feel so rehearsed. It won't feel so like, oh my gosh, I think I left something out. I meant to do this and I didn't do it. You won't start feeling guilty for not doing something you meant to do because the student read very, very slow. Or the student read too fast and threw you off. You're just like, oh, Then, add in regular conversation. What would you do or say to that child if they were sitting right in front of you in your living room, in your dining room? What would you do or say? Imagine that they are a child that got dropped off at your house and you have 30 minutes, 25 minutes, whatever. Or if you teach 50-minute, 1-hour classes like I do sometimes, then imagine that they're at your house for that time. Are you going to just stare at it and be like, they're at your house, okay? Imagine that you run this. They're at your house. How would you entertain that child until their parents come back and get them? Think of it that way, and that would ease your mind knowing that these people that are on the other side of this lens are here to learn something, yes, but they are in your classroom. They're in your classroom. So you have your own little, your own little flavor on it, your own personality on the lesson that's being taught. And that will make that student want to find you and come to you again and again and again because they can feel a connection. Or, if you ever seen that Hotel Transylvania, that zing, they feel the zing. Okay, now this video is starting to get really long, but when people ask me in writing, do you have any tips? I tell them there's too much for me to type. This is like a booklet of information. A booklet, okay? So, lastly, I would say the last tip would be make sure make sure that whenever you are supposed to exit, you exit correctly. If there's a problem, screenshot that too, okay? You enter correctly and on time, screenshot that too. Before you start your session of teaching for the day, do a quick little test of your equipment, okay? A quick little test just to make sure everything's up and up. Sometimes it might be, if you're like me and you have teenagers in your house that run up the Wi-Fi every day, video games and all types of stuff all throughout the day, every day, then when you're getting ready to teach, you might want to do a quick reset. Just reset to give yourself a fresh connection. Sometimes that's all you need to do. Reset. If you leave your computer on in sleep mode and then it's time for class, maybe 10, I don't know, some of these computers, I say maybe 20 minutes ahead of time. Do a reset and a restart of the computer. And if you have, I know a lot of people are saying, my computer did an update. Go into your settings and make sure your automatic update is never scheduled during your work schedule, or just turn off automatic updates. If you can go in your setting, turn that off. Trust me, you will thank me, because there are so many people that were like, I was in class and my computer didn't update and it took like 20 minutes and I was docked and blah blah blah. Don't let that happen to you. Go in your settings and either turn it off or put it for a time that you're not going to be teaching, okay? That automatic Windows update, or the if you're on anything, I think they have a automatic update too. I've never taught on a Mac, so I don't know how that goes. But go in there and check your update settings, okay? And last but not least, some people worry, what do you do if you don't remember the child's name? I give them 2 or 3 chances. Hi, my name is LaShundra. What's your name? And if it sounds like bump, bump, bada, bump, bump, and I'm like, oh, say that again? You said, how do you say it? Can you spell it? And if they don't understand what spell it means, don't even try to, you don't even have to try to frustrate them to explain. Like, is it ba, ba, did you say, they understand that you are a foreigner, okay? You are a foreigner. They understand this. Just like it's difficult for them to say some English words, they know it's going to be difficult for you. And so when they say it again, some of them say it so slow, so fast. I'm just like, that was worse than the first time. I said, oh, okay. Well, you are my friend. All right, are you ready, friend? Or if you don't want to, some people are like, I don't want to refer to my students as friends. You don't have to. You can say, all right, okay, well, let's go. Just don't use a name. Don't use sweetie. Don't, even in teaching public schools, they tell you don't call students dear and sweetie. I would not recommend calling them sweetheart and dear and all honey. I wouldn't recommend that. Don't do that. But just don't use a name. Like, all right, you did a great job. Okay, could you read this? Good job. Yes. And then if you want to try their name again, be tricky about it. Use your stuffed animal friend and have your stuffed animal come on the scene. Hello, my name is Arnold. What's your name? Oh, hi, Arnold. What's your name? So then they're talking to Arnold. They're not getting frustrated by telling you. And maybe you'll catch it that one time. And then do that every time you have that student until you finally learn their name. Until it clicks. Until you're comfortable to keep trying and laughing about it or something until you get it. Okay? So that's a trick for the student's name. Don't stress because you don't understand their name. I know they say refer to the student by name and personalize it. If you can't understand it, you can't understand it. Okay, you just can't. So, and that's okay. That is fine. Some of them will have easy names. Some of them go by like a English name, an American name, whatever you want to call it. Some of them still go by their Chinese name. You're just like, I don't know what they're talking about. Or sometimes you'll see an English name written in the little corner, but then they're still going by a Chinese name. You're just like, you can ask them, oh, okay, do they call you Jason? Is your name Jason? And if they say, yeah, then if they accept it, then go by that name. If they say, no, and they say their other name, then leave it alone. Leave it alone. Don't stress. You are okay. Now, this was a plethora of advice. I'm going to come out with some more advice. I hope this kind of helped you. I'm going to call this part 1. If I think of something else, I'll give you some more advice. But I think this is a good start. This was already like a whole day long. So I'm going to end it now. And then I'll go through some platform-specific advice for the platforms that I know of. So if you're on a different platform, I may not know. But if you are Dada, GoGo Kid, Cambly, Palfish, those platforms, then We Talk, I can definitely help you and give you some specific advice on those platforms. So you guys stay blessed. I love you guys. I do this for you. Believe it or not, I do. Like, if no one ever watched my channel, I probably just fizzle out. But because of the wonderful feedback, support, love, and just me knowing that I'm helping people, that keeps me going. So, as always, TTF in.